moderator for this panel. I'm from the National Institute for Computational Sciences, University of Tennessee, Knoxville, which is just about 2.5 hours down the road from here. And I've been with NICS since 2009, and I currently serve as its director. So today's panel is AI in research computing, inclusive approaches and collaborative innovations across diverse institutions. So throughout the day, we've really had a lot of conversations around AI and AI in classrooms. What does AI look like for education? We're going to shift the focus a little bit on this panel and talk about what does AI look for research and research computing in our different institutions. To help with this conversation, we have a couple of very esteemed colleagues here. Dr. Peter Taiwo from Morgan State University and Dr. Sajid Hussain from from Mahari Medical College. So the agenda for today is that we're going to have about introductions and goal setting for about the first 5 minutes. And then I have a list of prepared questions just in case you don't. But I'm really hoping that you have a ton of questions around research computing and AI, and then we have a really engaged and vibrant conversation around it. And then we will use the last 5 minutes to wrap up and talk about what were the key things we talked about today. So a couple of the goals, why are we here, what we want this panel to be. The first one is to explore how AI is reshaping research computing and data ecosystems. I think all of today, and I made this comment during at lunch saying, I intended to come here talking about a whole vast, diverse array of topics, but somehow every conversation seems to end up at AI, so let's continue that trend here. The second thing is to address topics such as technology adoption, responsible AI practices, data and resource management, workforce development, and cost considerations. The third is to highlight successful AI initiatives happening at different campuses. And finally, it is to inform an audience on best practices, helping participants identify opportunities to support and strengthen AI-driven research and education across educational communities. A little bit of background about this panel itself. It's based on a position paper coming from the Coalition for Academic Scientific Computation, or CASC. This position was called The Dynamic State of AI in Research Computing and Data, and it came out sometime last year. So as an offshoot of that activity, we decided to put this panel together here at this annual meeting. So a little bit about CASC. I'm here today representing and as an ambassador for CASC. So CASC, as I said, is the Coalition for Academic Scientific Computation. It is a group of over 100 institutions who work in research computing. So it ranges from your big R1 universities, think of the University of Michigan or University of Texas, University of Tennessee, et cetera, but it also has your R2s, HBCUs, et cetera. Or anybody who tangentially touches research computing is always welcome to be a part of CASC. So CASC has a couple of different priorities. The first is to advocate for public and private investment in research computing and data. The second is that they advise federal agencies on funding programs, engage in policy discussions on research computing and data. The third is to foster a community of current and emerging leaders in computational fields. And finally, like what we're doing here, is to host community forums to share strategies. So if you are interested in CASC, at the end of all of this, I do have a little QR code you could look up to see if you or your institution would be interested in becoming a member. This is currently the member map for CASC. Like I said, it's a little over 100 institutions strong, and we are currently looking for ways to go global. So we are looking to see what would make sense to have international audiences represented at CASC. So I would like to take a little bit of time for our panelists to introduce themselves and talk about a little bit about what they're doing at their institutions with regards to research computing and AI. So Dr. Taiwo, would you like to go first?
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for having me. Yeah, I'm Peter Taiwo from Morgan State University. I currently primarily work with the new Center for Equitable AI and Machine Learning Systems at Morgan State. This was established in 2022 to serve as a hub for all the other labs and some other efforts in other departments across the university. I currently work as a research engineer there at the center, but I was moved first as an affiliated faculty to the center when it started. So I actually started with Morgan as a lecturer in the Department of Electrical and Computer Engineering, where I teach signal processing and wireless communication and digital logic. With some research work I did, even with my dissertation, I did a lot of work that has to do with heavy computing, but not directly with AI, but with signal processing and image processing, where we did a lot of adaptive signal modification or manipulation work that involves a lot of AI-related stuff, even though they were not directly AI. So at some point, I found out that the work I was doing was a lot at par with AI, especially when I took a class that has to do with machine learning systems and application of AI. So because of that intersection, it was much more interesting for me to transition from traditional signal processing, image processing, wireless communication into full AI research work, which I currently now engage in.
Dr. Hussain?
Hi. Yeah. So my name is Sajid Hussain. I'm, as it says, chair of the computer science department at Mehari Medical College. Many colleagues think that what is computer science doing at Mehari Medical College? It's a medical college. So just to give you an update, 4 years ago, we launched a new school at Mehari Medical College, school called School of Applied Computational Sciences. So we launched a new school, and we have all graduate programs, master and PhD. We have 2 PhD programs, PhD in data science and PhD in biomedical data science. And we also had, okay, you got my slide, those 2 points. Okay, sure. So as you can see over here, we have 2 PhD programs with 43 students in it. And we also have 6 master's programs. Data science and AI is a new program we launched, cybersecurity, bioinformatics, and of course, computer science and biomedical data science. This picture is our Dean of Fortune, Heshlanga. He's our founding dean. Interesting thing about these programs are, they are 100% online, and almost 100% are US citizen or immigrant, because many graduate programs in the country, they are predominantly either international students or other. So we are proud to state that we are having a domestic talent and training them. Also, it is designed for working professionals. So, but at the same time, it is synchronous. It is not like a self-paced that do at your own time. So we have 9 contact hours per week with all the students. So I really appreciate the passion for our students, because imagine you are doing a full-time job, and then in the evening, 3 times in a week, you have to spend 2 or 3 hours a day, so 9 hours contact in addition to your family commitment. And our students are amazing. Some of their pictures are right here on the screen. You can see these are our master students who graduated in this term. Our faculty are around 24 as of fall 25, and they are very active in research. For last fiscal year, $12 million grants we had. So in summary, it's an amazing opportunity. And I myself joined Mehari Medical School in this capacity last year. I was at Fisk University prior joining Mehari for last 15 years. I love my time at Fisk, and I'm glad that I moved to Mehari as well, because both are HBCUs, and if you don't know, they're across the street. So literally across the street. So, and we still have a strong collaboration, of course, with TSU as well, and even American Baptist College. We have 4 HBCUs right here in Nashville. And we try to work together and make a regional hub here. And although Nashville is famous for country music, but we have very strong healthcare technology industry here. And almost 80% healthcare billing is done here in Nashville. And in addition to healthcare billing, your smartphone insurance is also done in Nashville. So it's quite interesting to have a hub here where we can contribute. And As you know, several industries are here. Oracle Healthcare is also moving here. And glad to share that they picked Meharry Medical College as their partner, not Vanderbilt or other institutions. And we will be proud to work with Oracle Healthcare in developing these intelligent healthcare solutions.
Thank you. So just to kick things off a little bit, can both of you describe how your institution is currently engaging with AI in research computing or in data management?
All right, okay, I'll go. So at Morgan State University, our AI effort is being embedded in the university's efforts to transition from an R2 university to R1. So what the university is doing is to create different centers that could become center of excellence and present that to the state of Maryland, to get a lot more funding so as to improve the research profile of the university, which is one of the key conditions for us to be able to move to an R1 university. So at that point, the lab that I was working with, which was directly under the electrical engineering department, so we do predictive analytics and data engineering. We put up a proposal in collaboration with some other labs within the electrical engineering department for the Center for Equitable AI, and try as much as possible to make a case for the fact that this is going to serve the immediate community that we are in, which is the university and also the city of Baltimore itself. Knowing that the population has a lot of underserved demography in the area that the university is situated. So we're able to get that approved with some other centers like the Cybersecurity Assurance Policy, the CAP Center, and some other. But the Center for Equitable AI became one of the key driver for that transition to be possible, which, going by the metrics we currently have, we are close to that. So in terms of resources, before the emergence of the center, some of our labs, especially on the engineering side, we did have a lot of external funding and some compute resources as well. And some of them also have some ongoing projects that funded the labs for high computer resources. So, but since the center is put up to be collaborative in terms of we want to also bring in some other areas like healthcare, or bring in the School of Business and their fintech projects, or community health department and all that. So it creates a kind of opportunity for these other projects in some other areas to be able to apply AI in whatever they're doing, or put a proposal for projects that will involve the application of AI. So the center has been able to do that, and the resources we have definitely cool that we have in one lab could serve multiple labs as well, as we also rely on funding from the state to get more computer resources for us for a lot of these efforts, research effort that we are embarking in the realms of artificial intelligence and machine learning systems application.
Thank you.
Yeah, so as I shared earlier, at Meharry Medical College, we have very strong focus. President Hildreth had the vision for data science 4 years ago. That's why we established the whole School of Applied Computational Sciences. We launched all these programs, AI, whole program is launched. In addition to School of Applied Computational Sciences, we also have Enterprise Data Analytics. And that is the one in-house, do all data analytics for Meharry Medical College. So all our patient data we are doing it in-house. and we are integrating across all different platforms, and so it is quite impressive or humongous task, you can say. And in addition to it, so we got our school, whole new school, we got enterprise data analytics, and also launching new programs, also of course buying hardware, infrastructure, and also having a faculty focus on AI, cybersecurity. And some of our students, 3 are right here up front taking the pictures. I really appreciate our students, faculty. There's a whole environment, whole immersive experience in AI, data science, and this cutting edge. And I will say that in addition to it, we also focusing on that hopefully our next QEP even will be also AI across the curriculum. We are collecting, it's not yet, as you know, QEP is a CASC COC 7.2 standard. So at this stage, we are collecting information. But so far information that we have collected, AI is still among the top categories, and we hope to implement it. And the reason I'm sharing it, because AI has to be across the curriculum, all of it. It is not only for computer science or STEM majors, everyone has to do it. Just like reading or writing. All of us, I mean, if you go a few centuries back, not everyone was allowed to read or write. It was only specific scribe or priest who were able to read and write. But then it became open, everyone started reading and writing, printing press came, and things became common. And we saw the big impact. 4 centuries seems a lot in terms of our traditional learning style, but in AI, even 5 years seemed like a stone age. I mean, things change so rapidly. So AI has to be across the curriculum, all of us, and it's not only techie guy, STEM guy, everybody. Actually, it can be the other way around. Those colleagues who are not techie, but who are more problem solving, more creative, they can play the more pioneer role. Because sometimes, you know, with software, we come up with a baggage. We always think like a computer scientist, how it can be done, the software. We always have some software limitations in our mind. But someone has no software experience will ask a very difficult or tough questions, is not bound by database design or relational model, think out of the box and come up with a quite different question or context. That type of tough questions we have to give AI and use the AI for those challenging problems that we have not discussed yet.
I like what you're saying, and to kind of reinforce your point, between my husband and I'm of course in research computing. My husband's a writer, and he uses AI tools way more than I do. He just creates images and stories, and he's like, check out what I did today. And I'm like, how do you do that? So yes, I think thinking about AI really from AI is for everybody and just not technologists is very important. So moving on a little bit, and before I do that, please, if anybody in the audience has questions, this is your time. My questions are here just in case you don't, so please, your questions are way more important than what I have down here. So what are some of the primary barriers you face technically, financially, or structurally in adopting a scaling AI-driven research computing infrastructure?
I can go first. You're taking it first all the time. Okay. I mean, in terms of infrastructure, of course, there are challenges because even the cost, I mean, we know like Google released Veo last week, costing $250 a month. It's an amazing video production tool. You can do amazing work, but can a common person afford it? It's like our monthly rent. $250 a month to use the tool. But the thing is, those who can afford it, what type of videos and tools they will develop. Of course, we are waiting for someone else to come up and give us a cheaper version, but then we will be behind. I mean, we can write, people are writing thousands of lines of code a day now. Thousands of lines with Gen AI, all these Copilot, all these tools. And someone who is not doing it will be way behind. So we really need to put the infrastructure in practice, how to compete, right? So of course, we have these limitations in terms of training faculty and using our current resources. So it is a challenge, but I see more in terms of training people how to use these resources. Buying is one thing, and we can get access to it thanks to NAIR pilot. We saw the session earlier. So there are federal opportunities that we can use it, but there is more need for training our faculty and students, everybody. One thing I want to share, like, we know that AI models are black box, and then we come up with the explainable AI. Explainable AI even further created the problems, because the way AI explains it, it's so persuasive, so thorough, you think it is genuine. Like we saw the research example that Dr. Robbie Metten shared during the lunchtime. If you don't know the actual domain, if you're not subject matter expert, and you see that knowledge, you think this is the problem, I can't even have further. And as Dr. Samuel mentioned, for those who are like her husband is making those videos and those things, I can share my personal story. I'm trying my wife for last 20 years to convince her that when you do marathon running, half marathon, do 10-1, 10-minute run and 1-minute walk. And then you can go longer. It's a common running room practice to do 10-1. Don't go non-stop for 13 miles, but 10-minute run and 1-minute walk, you can easily finish it and finish it better. And I was unable to convince her for last 20 years. Now she asked ChatGPT this April, how can I run half marathon effectively? ChatGPT gave her the same answer, run 10-1, and this time she did 10-1. So the thing is, because it is persuasive. It is persuasive. So the thing is, we have to be careful. If it is on the right track, then it is fine. But if it is going on the historical bias and other things and other data, it will go with it. So we have to be very careful what we are feeding into it, what research we are driving out of it. We still need to get to subject matter expert to validate it. So there are many research challenges. We are doing it in the research. Buying infrastructure is one thing. But in addition to infrastructure, we have to use how to use it effectively. It is like, we teach our kids how to turn off the stove. We can't say, you can't use any cooking, you can't use the stove. No, we have to teach kids how to use the stove, how to fry the eggs, even at younger age. But we have to teach them properly so they don't burn themselves. Same thing, we have to incorporate AI tools in the research, but use it effectively. So we are doing genuine research, not following someone else's unintended agenda, because this is what we learned and we just do it. We have to think ourselves, this is my problem, not Gen AI problem.
And Peter, could you talk about challenges and barriers from an organizational or a structural standpoint?
Yeah. So I will start with an example of what I was doing, yesterday. It was yesterday or the day before. So I was trying to, I wanted to use some AI models that are in the clouds, but for some reason, the project I'm working on, I was like, no, I don't want to use the model in the cloud. I want to use it on my machine. So I have a small PC that has a GPU, so I'm going to talk about GPU soon. And I feel because I have a GPU, so I should be able to download that model and use it. But the model was too heavy for my PC. It worked, but I wanted to create a model that could give me a response real time. So it worked, but it was slow in giving me the response. So that's a hardware constraint. It's not that I cannot, but the GPU I have is not enough. So if I just want to pin this to the fact that the concept around AI is really not new. There are a lot of research that have been done, and the possibility of what we can do with what we do with AI right now that has been discovered like about 50 years ago or even more. But why are we not talking about AI since 50 years ago? Because we didn't have enough compute resources to do that. We don't have the chips that we're having right now. It's multiple times more powerful than what we had then. So the knowledge was there. It has been put out there that we could do a lot of things. We could build intelligence that's close to the way human reason, but we don't have that hardware to do it. So everything about AI has to do with hardware. So it's more than just, of course, we had the idea, but we cannot build on it because we could not implement it at that time. So currently, thankfully for some big tech that made this, like OpenAI, that made this available to the public, but you realize that whatever you are using OpenAI model, like ChatGPT or whatever, so those things are not competent within your device or computers in the cloud out there. And the challenge is there that whatever you put into the system is going to some server that I don't have control over and all that. So, but when it comes to coming back to the research in organization and universities, so the major barrier, aside what Dr. Azana has talked about, human resources, the major barrier is hardware. The infrastructure is not there. So what we have done at Morgan, for instance, is, since the creation of the center, we, and getting funding from the state to upgrade our profile in AI research, we encourage faculties to come with the ideas of AI. Regardless of which field, whatever field they are, it may not be directly related, it may not be in engineering, it could be in business, for instance. We have this project that has to do with blockchain technology, smart contracts, and then from the School of Business, they're like, yes, like we use some tools to detect vulnerabilities in this blockchain smart contracts. Can we use AI? And the answer is yes, right? Yeah, but we need to put some students to do this research. Which hardware are they going to use? Are they going to use their laptops? That may not be, most of them don't have laptops as GPUs. But because of the advantage we have, we leverage resources from the Center of Equitable AI and Machine Learning Systems to provide GPU-enabled laptops to the students to use as the center keep working on getting GPU farms that could be accessible virtually by the students. So the problem is just all around infrastructure, and I appreciate what NEAR Pilot is doing. We got the news, we applied, even though, of course, we had when we asked, when the center asked faculty to drop our proposal, we had a ton of that because the community, they are really interested in applying AI in their in whatever research they are working on. But of course, the resource will not still be enough, so we have to cut down. But with the advent of NEAR pilots, we are encouraging all faculties to apply to that for them to have resources directly in the cloud to do their research. So to support what Dr. Azana said about human resource training, that's very important as well. So at every summer, the center organizes training for faculty and staff from all over the university, those that are interested to come and just learn how they can use all these AI models. Which ones, there are a lot of AI models, but you have to know which one will work for your own project. So we put them through a workshop and make them have some hands-on on how to apply ML models to solve problems in their research.
So here's a question that I had just listening to what you both were saying, is that there are a lot of initiatives, a lot of projects happening. Could you tell us a little bit about how these are funded?
Yes, that's an interesting piece to it. Before our AI center at Morgan, for instance, we had labs that had external funding, federal funding, and all that. But the center was able to bring the resources from these labs Since we encourage interdisciplinary projects, and that's what we approve at the lab, you can't just be in your cocoon, especially for engineering people. That's my constituency. So at times I want to sit down and do research where I just want to build models without thinking about which area I want to apply it. But if I write proposals and I say that, okay, I want to apply this maybe to biomedical engineering or to community health, personalized diagnoses, and all that, then I want to involve a faculty and students from that area. Yeah, so they will have access to those resources. So we have we leverage funding from people that got funding from external sources. We also provide internal funding for a small project that could also that aligns with the goals of the center. So far it is interdisciplinary, and it addresses socially responsible AI. It addresses bias, fairness, and trustworthiness and explainability. So it goes both ways, internally and externally, which they're very necessary for every institution to encourage. I mean, if they really want to encourage AI research in the universities.
Dr. Hussain, anything to add?
For our funding, we are very fortunate and blessed to have our very research active faculty, and we got grants from all funding agencies, almost NSF, NIH, DOD, DOE, private foundations, HCA, Oracle, I mean, long list. So I'm saying that things are doing really well. Is it enough? No, because it is a moving target. You know, you will always fill your garage, regardless how big the garage is. So yeah, I mean, the thing is that but it's still a long way to go. So we do have funding, I would say all these private foundations, federal agencies, but our target, you know, just like I mentioned, like 50, those PhD students, we want to fund them. We can't say do PhD and at the same time get your own. So it's like half a million we have to give them, or 1 million next year. So our moving target, more funding, of course, we need to train our students, to engage them in the research. Yeah, so we are fortunate to have the funding, but at the same time, if you say it is enough, no, there's still a wide gap is there. So, I mean, if you see the statistics, how many minorities are data science PhDs, it is quite maybe single-digit number. African American, if you say female, a really small number. And we have these females right here in the audience looking forward when they will get their PhDs. So we want to contribute. So funding is an issue, but at the same time, funding should not be the label not to do the research. We can still do the research whatever we can, but funding will of course expedite it further.
I want to open it up to the audience right now. Any questions?
Oh, I definitely have a question. Thank you for being able to speak and talk with us today. I am one of those PhD students that he was talking about at Meharry in the Biomedical Data Sciences Department. The question I have for you today is, of course, AI is everywhere. The money comes in for the funding and projects. So what are you doing, or how can you utilize what's happening in order to, in 3 parts. First, ensure that your teaching staff, which takes 2 hats, they are both researchers and content deliverers, to ensure that their professional development is plugged into what's needed in order for them to reach the faces of the audience that they're trying to deliver the content to, and also to recruit and retain faces that are reflective of the student population that you have, and also allow the students to participate, to be able to have access and participate in those collaborative opportunities that you were speaking about.
Thank you for asking the question. I think there is a lot of burden on faculty because we can't use our slides we are using for last 15, 20 years. We can't use the same methodology. Just take the example of K-12. There are questions with calculator and there are questions without calculator. So that is a strategy. We need to have similar strategies to have assignments using Gen AI tools, and assignments in class without Gen AI. We want them to write it, compose it, write the code, write essay, do the research using Gen AI. At the same time, be creative and write old-fashioned paper, pencil, make sure you can do in class. So more work for teachers. If I give you example of Salman Khan from Khan Academy, he made 7,000 videos, but now they have learned to let it go because now Gen AI is there, and all these videos are already are trained, but the new set of tools will come. Yeah, so whatever our faculty and we did in our lifetime, and we are doing it, now faculty has to take the initiative to really revise our teaching methodology, research for the current tools. We can't still stay in the past. It will be more time for them. They need institutional support or revamping or training. But of course, it's a quite burden on faculty you don't need to revamp everything in one day, but at least start doing it. Augment some assignments, still old-fashioned, some new assignments, but that is a transition that we need to transform to the current tools.
If you had one piece of advice or request from an agency that was interested in investing or participating in your initiatives at your campuses, what would be an ask or a wish list of maybe 2 or 3 things that you would want them to do in order to ensure that the representation of your student population is both in the workforce and also in the training or the instructional staff that will be for the future of your student population?
Yeah, that's an interesting question because it has to do with something that we just talking about at our center. We have agencies come, especially federal agencies, come on campus to say they want us to work on this project. There are times they just expect the faculties to work on that project for some reasons. So we try to insist as much as possible, if there is nothing that has to do with, okay, this is classified stuff or whatever, that we want to involve students, especially graduate students, on all of our projects. So there was one we had like that. The first phase was just faculty. The second phase, we tried to persuade that we need to include some students. In fact, one of the students is currently writing his master's thesis on that project currently. So we have that situation a lot. So about training faculties, like I mentioned, we have the center organized this summer program for faculty and staff, including staff, even probably people in IT, also how they can use AI, what they're doing, or we have data scientists that actually support our research workforce as well. So they come on board also to know how they can use this tool to support our research work as well. Yeah, so there's a lot going on. So we take that very importantly, that we need to train faculty. That's what we also help them to be able to move the concept of AI into the classroom fully. Like Dr. Melton said, it has come and there's no way around it. If we try to say we don't want to welcome AI, we just found out that the world will leave us behind. So it's the way I'm seeing it, at some point in the future, near future, far future, there won't be any educational curriculum without the use of AI tool one way or the other. So we have to be proactive and start training our faculty from now as much as we can.
I will add here that for our funding agencies, they should be mindful that at HBCUs and other MSIs, our faculty have very heavy teaching load. Typical load is 12 hours a semester. So with this type of teaching load and what I just mentioned earlier, faculty need to revamp their assignments and all the handouts. So we are asking too much from them. So we definitely need to have funding for time release, for their own professional development, so that otherwise it is not humanly possible to do all these things while doing the current work. So we need to give them the funding for time release and of course professional development, and it will be beneficial for the institutions as well as for the funding agency for workforce development. Because take an example of our MSIs, HBCUs. We have very few faculty to start with. Our offices run with 1% whole department, or sometimes at 0.5. How 0.5? Because 1 person managing 2 departments. so we are even less than 1 person per department. Good news is we are such a bare bone, we can't lay off anybody. Everyone has to be there. AI can be used to make us efficient. Other institutional offices, they are laying off people. We can't lay off because we are already at the bare bone. But thing is, we can be efficient now. We can take leverage from new tools. If we get funding support from federal agencies, and we are already very lean, we are already very efficient, where we are with bare minimum resources, we are producing all these students and doing the workforce development. If we become more efficient with the AI tools, we'll be more productive, it will help everybody. So I think, yeah, that if we have a wish list and then we get more time release and we get more training, so in the same environment, our faculty can do amazing work, and I'm sure we will do.
So we are about 3 minutes to the end of the panel, so I have one fun question for you. If you had access to unlimited resources, unlimited funding, unlimited everything, what is one high-impact AI initiative you'd launch tomorrow?
All right, I'll go.
You can go for it. Think about it.
I mean, so one of the projects that I think is pertinent to me, though it may not really tell about my background, and it's kind of it touches on one of the points the last questioner raised. It has to do with face recognition and detection of bias, with a focus on skin tone. Of course, we try to make that mild so we don't. I mean, when skin tone can be, you can have it all in a spectrum from very dark to very light, and that's where we stopped. So we actually leveraging a scale that was published by Google, just 10 different tones. But we had this barrier in terms of, because it has to do with a lot of image processing. So at some point we're using AWS, and unknowingly one of the students consumed $10,000 in just training a GAN, because we want to try to generate different faces to see how biased all these models are. So if I have limited resources, what we intend to do in that project is that I want to take all AI models that are into face recognition and then prove that they are biased. Biased against some, especially dark skin tones. So, but we need a lot of compute resources to do that. Of course, we did that to a point. But if you have limited resources, we could test as much as possible models. We could move from just face recognition to language. In fact, there's a project, there's one of our researchers working on that as well, where ChatGPT could be biased against different vernacular of even just English alone. You could say the sentiment analysis for this sentence is negative, not because it's actually negative, but it's just because of the dialect or the vernacular of English that this person is speaking. So some others are doing fine, for face recognition, for instance, there's a model called recognition on AWS that did very well against about 5 other models. So, but if we're able to do this, and then we'll put the result online, so that all these providers sees it, and they can have something to put them on their toes. That we need to do better, because some institutions, they are putting up the result of their bias detection algorithm to say this is bias, both in face recognition, in language models, in speech, and whatever models that come up tomorrow, no matter how heavy they are or how much resources we need to test them and put their final scores out there. So that will be one of the projects I will have in mind to accomplish.
Hussain?
Yeah, I will go for interdisciplinary research, because sometimes, digital humanities, art, music are left out, and we have too much focus on STEM. I really want to get fun, enjoyment, creativity in our life. So connecting virtual world, physical world, fun, enjoyment all together. So that will be the real essence of AI. We don't need to, although I love math and coding, but I want to enjoy, right? And with AI, all these things can be taken care of. So more human-based, humanistic research, development, ideas, imagine biologists, physics, chemistry, art, music, historian, anthropologist, psychologist, sociologist, all in one room, and helping each other, solving our problems, working for human beings together. We have to be together. That is the main thing. Not just working with machines and try to act like a machine and try to talk to machine. Now AI is the other way around. We are no more natural language processing, just human language processing. Talk to each other in normal language that we want to talk, and just convey. All of us want to have fun. That's why we are here. We want basic dopamine, serotonin. So do something that all of us enjoy and have fun together.
I think that was fantastic. That's definitely the crux of everything, is we all just want to have fun. Just wrapping things up a little bit, I have 2 calls for action here from the community, if you are so willing to. As I mentioned earlier, this panel really is an offshoot of the CASC position paper that came out sometime last year. So the first QR code there is a link to the position paper. We would absolutely love it at CASC if you would take the time to read the paper. It's not very long, it's about 3 pages long. We try to keep these position papers really brief and to the point so that it's applicable to a wide range of audience. And if you could give us feedback about what are your thoughts based on the paper, what should we be talking about differently, or what have we not talked about at all, we would love to hear from you. So please email, I think it's positions@casc.org. So please email us with your feedback on the paper. The second one is, since we're in Nashville, Tennessee, and since I'm from the University of Tennessee, Knoxville, I need to make a plug for AI Tennessee. So AI Tennessee is a new research and education initiative. It's led by UT, and it engages with academia, industry, and the community partners across Tennessee to leverage the benefits of AI. So this is to really increase AI, as Dr. Hussain was talking about, making it really truly transdisciplinary, bringing in all facets such as sociology, geography, history, English. How do we all together leverage AI for common good? So if you would like to learn a little bit more about AI Tennessee and how you could become a member, that's a QR code, and I know that there are several other state organizations. There's Empire AI in New York, and there are several other state organizations around AI collaboration. So please do look them up in your area, and so that you're a part of a much larger community. With that, let's thank our panelists for today.